Good evening, everybody. And let me take a moment just really to thank the summit for having me and to thank Ruth Ann because I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. And my schedule was all mixed up, and Ruth Ann said, "We're getting you to Washington. You will be here." And I'm really happy to be here, which is something I never thought I would say, because when this water crisis got to the national spotlight, I never thought I would say to anybody, "I'm happy to be here." But one of the things that I've learned through this crisis is that if we can prevent this tragedy from happening anyplace else, if we don't do that, then we have failed a second time. And so I'm happy to be here and be part of helping to prevent this from ever happening to anyone else. It was interesting to me because I remember I was talking with Maxine, my assistant, and I said, what am I supposed to talk about? And she said, "Well, I have some notes, and it's a call to action." And I said, "Okay." And I kept reading on how cities should deal with the issues of lead and health and environmental justice. And I said, "Okay, I think I can do that." I said, but as I thought about a call to action, I said, "I know that means you have to do something. And we're really looking for an immediate response." And as I was thinking about, I've been asked a lot about how is Flint responding to what has happened, and how would you like Flint to have responded? And I said, what's happened in Flint, Michigan really needs to be treated as a public health issue. I said, we need to have something that's population-based. You have to be proactive. You have to not sit back. You cannot wait. You have to speak up, and you have to speak out, and you have to step up and demand. And as you just heard about Harry Belafonte and his voice and why it was so important. And I remember when I was elected mayor, I didn't have any power. I came into office with no power. And people said, "What are you going to be able to do any differently than anybody else has done?" And I said, "Well, one thing is for sure." I said, "Nobody can ever take my voice." I said, "So if I can't change things, I'll be sure to let you know what's going on. I'm going to say what I think should happen and what needs to happen and what they're doing and what they won't let me do." I said, "And I'll be in front of the cameras every single day letting you know this." And so I almost thought I could come out here and just say ditto to what has been said, because it was that voice and making sure no one takes your voice, even though we had been under an emergency manager and our democracy and voice had been taken. The lesson is no one takes your voice. And so we have to remember that. And I want people to know that you have to speak up, you have to speak out, and you have to demand. And this is on behalf of Flint, Michigan, and all of the other Flints that are out there. All of the other Flints that are out there, that's what I'm begging you to do. And so what I'm hoping is that people are taking a lesson from what happened in Flint, because what happened in Flint, my hometown of 100,000, should never, ever happen again. Now, while I talked about the need to be proactive, what happened in Flint was we were forced to be reactive. We were forced to be reactive. So don't get me wrong, we tried to be proactive. As soon as our water source was switched, we knew we had a problem. We knew that brown water, orange, rusty water, stinky water wasn't good. And we cried out for a year and a half. For 1.5 years, but our tragedy, it just wasn't acknowledged or admitted. And in fact, we were told by our local, by our state, and by our federal government that everything was fine and to drink up. So now we have an infrastructure crisis, both underground and with the fixtures that are in homes and that are in buildings. We have an infrastructure crisis, which clearly speaks to the need and highlights the importance and the urgency for infrastructure maintenance and investment. And hopefully that will be a high priority when the new administration comes in, especially as we look at our urban cities all across this country, because we know we have an aging infrastructure. But we also have a public health crisis in the city of Flint. We have probably about 10,000 kids that are under the age of 9 in the city of Flint. And so we have a public health crisis there, which highlights the need to demand higher water quality standards. Our current ones, we know, are outdated. We know they need to be fixed. And people all across America should be tuned in to what has taken place in Flint. And while we know that infrastructure costs are enormous, we know that the cost of not fixing the infrastructure, not fixing it, the human cost is even greater. And that cost, we can't ever place the cost over the health and the well-being of people of all ages, but especially our youth, our brain trust, and our future. And that's what's happened in Flint. And you know, I think one of the things that really got me, I remember even when I was campaigning, is the fact that I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. And so when we heard about the lead in the water, you know, I knew firsthand about the devastating effects lead poisoning has on young children and the unborn children. And I knew how it was going to tax our school system and our mental health system and our special education system and our juvenile justice system and our foster care and adoption system, and the list goes on, and we haven't even talked about the toll that it takes on the families that have to deal with it. So I knew something had to be done immediately. And not only was this a public health crisis that we needed to speak out about, but it was also an environmental injustice issue that was going on in the city of Flint. Because we all wondered, had this been a more wealthy community, would things have been taken care of much more, in a much more timely fashion? We shouldn't be in year 3 and still be on bottled and filtered water in the city of Flint. But now, while Flint has truly been impacted, like I said, people need to learn from us. You have to learn from us and use us as a platform, use us as a voice and a model. You've got to be proactive. You've got to be demanding and speak up about what's going on, because Flint, we're a city that's been hurt. We've been betrayed, and we've been traumatized. We've also been scarred physically, mentally, and emotionally. We've lost lives to legionnaires. We've had young people poisoned by lead, and we've also had cases of Shigella. So people in Flint don't trust. And rightfully so. We're in year 3. In April, we had completed 2 years, so this is 2.5 years. We're in year 3, you know, that we can't drink our water. But I do want people to know that we're moving forward in Flint. We're not going to let this stop us. We're replacing our lead and galvanized service lines. We're replacing the fixtures that are in homes, that are in buildings. And we are being proactive. We're educating our community about the proper use and the maintenance of filters, about proper nutrition, about diet and physical fitness. I'm so happy to announce that for the first time ever in the city of Flint, we have a position. We have a chief public health advisor, and she's actually here with me this evening. It's Dr. Pamela Pugh. So we have a voice at the table on health issues on behalf of the city of Flint, and we have a voice and a face that people trust. Is it a position we should have had to have? No, but we sure do need it now. And so I'm really happy that Pam is here with us this evening. One of the other things we're doing is we're hiring our own people. I said people need to learn from this. One of the things we've learned and that people should know is that in order for our community to survive, in order for us to get through this, we needed to be part of the healing process. We needed to have our own people involved in rebuilding Flint and taking Flint back. And when this first happened, the National Guard came in. And I'm thankful that the National Guard came in. We needed a jump start to get the water distributed to people. We needed to get the filters distributed. But on the other hand, we said, you know what? We've got a whole lot of young people between the ages of 16 and 24 that aren't working. They're not in school, but they're here. And they want to be part of the solution. And so thanks to the Flint Water Works program, we were able to hire. We've hired over 100, and we're looking to hire more of Flint young people that are distributing water, that are helping package up that lead mitigating diet. And we wanted to take it a step further than that because we know they want to do more than water distribution. And they can do more than water distribution and packaging up food. And so we wanted to take this opportunity, because it's an opportunity when you have a challenge or a crisis. We found out opportunities come from that. And so what we decided to do was we were going to pair up these young people with our plumbers and our pipe fitters and put them in an apprenticeship program so they'll have a trade when they're done, and it's something that no one can ever take from them, and they'll be making right now between $12 and $14 an hour to help be part of rebuilding their city. So that's one of the things that we're doing to make things better. We know that we need economic development, economic recovery to happen in Flint, and new businesses are coming. And we're happy about this because we've got to let people know that Flint is worth the investment. We are worth the investment. We're not disposable people, and it shows the world that all of the other Flints are worth the investment as well. And that's what we want people to know. We're doing this. One of the things we like to say is because we're Flint strong and we're resilient. But we're not only doing this for us, we're doing it, like I said, for all of the other Flints that are out there. Westmore said, there are other Westmores out there. And they said, it's not the name that's important. And so this isn't just about Flint. You know, it started off that way for me, but it's not just about Flint, because we know there are other Flints waiting to happen. And so this is for me, but it's also for you and you and you. And so that's what we're doing. And so while I'm up here, I really want to take an opportunity. I need to take this opportunity to thank people. As I came in, I have run into so many people that have said, I sent water to Flint. We sent filters to Flint. We donated to Flint. Your community helped our community because it brought us together as we got these packages together to send to you all. And so I need to thank you. Some people have said, you know, they've just spoken up for Flint. They've kept our story out there, and that's what people have asked, how can we help you? I said, help us keep this story out there, because this story should not go away until we get this situation rectified, because if Flint goes away, the other places disappear from the map as well. So help us keep our story out there. I also just need to take a moment to thank you for your thoughts and for your prayers, and letting you know how you all have lifted us spiritually and mentally and emotionally, and what it has meant to the people of Flint. And so I just wanted to come out here and let you know that while things haven't moved as quickly as we know they should, they're still moving. I said one thing is I'm tired, but I'm not so tired that I'm going to stop. I said I actually have, I never thought I'd pride myself on having such a big mouth, but I do. I said that's what, I have a big mouth. I said, and I'm going to use it. And it came in handy this time. It came in handy. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be with like-minded people that know we've got a problem. And we've got a problem all across this country. And we've got to continue to be advocates and be voices for those that can't be advocates and don't have a voice. Like I said, ours was taken from us because of emergency manager laws. But we're fighting for kids and we're fighting for seniors who feel like they can't speak up. They don't have anybody fighting for them. And so when you get tired, just think about that. And so I really wanted to say that not only from me, but on behalf of all of the 100,000 people of the city of Flint. I thank you so much for having the opportunity to come here. Thank you, Ruth Ann. I appreciate it. Thank you.